Rick Branos for the Coach Speak Index. What's up? How is it hanging? Thursday, October 10th, week 6 of the NFL season. Got Kyle Shanahan versus Mike McDonald tonight. And then on Sunday, Lamar Jackson versus Jaden Daniels. My God. Pants completely off. Donated them to my local French Goodwill today. We are running around Winnie the Pooh style here at Coach Speak Index headquarters. Does Winnie the Pooh have any shirts besides that one red t-shirt he's always wearing? Or is this like an Ernest P. Worrell situation where he has like a dozen red shirts in his closet? Has anyone ever gifted him a different colored shirt for his birthday, for Christmas? Come on, let's mix it up a little, Winnie. Speaking of things that you can do while you are not wearing any pants, folks, Underdog Fantasy, they've got about 1 million pick'ems available for this week's slate. I like higher than 63.5 rushing yards for Kenneth Walker and higher than 83.5 rushing yards for Jordan Mason tonight. I think we are going to see an election season runoff between two teams whose run defenses have been lackluster. They lack a lust for tackling running backs. And we will be talking about Kenneth Walker on the podcast here in just a little bit. So sign up on Underdog with promo code CoachSpeak. Hey, that's me. Promo code CoachSpeak to claim a first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash, plus a free pick. Cool. Before we get to the clips, we will start with a few injuries. Jacksonville Jaguars head coach Doug Peterson says about tight end Evan Ingram, who has been out since week 1 with a hamstring injury, that I think the chances of getting him back in here this week are pretty good. Ingram traveled with the team to London, and Doug Peterson has a 50% reliability rating on injury coach speak. So we'll see. Rams head coach Sean McVay said that week 7 was always an optimistic target date for Cooper Kupp to return, but by no means is that guaranteed. I know a lot of people are assuming that it'll be week 7, and without any setback, maybe it will be, but not super clear-cut and dry. And then Vikings head coach Kevin O'Connell said that Aaron Jones has a hip injury and looks like we've avoided a long-term injury. I would classify him as week-to-week at this point. KOC has a 90% reliability rating on injury coach speak, so we believe what Kevin says. Okay, we have one quarterback clip, and it's just about the worst quarterback in the NFL right now, playing at a level low enough that an ant playing limbo might hit this bar. Speaking, of course, of Cleveland Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson, head coach Kevin Stefanski was asked whether a quarterback change is needed. Here is what he had to say.
Given the struggles of the offense, how do you think significant changes are needed? And is a quarterback change considered?
Yeah, we're not changing quarterbacks. We need to play better. I need to coach better. And that's really what it is.
We're not changing quarterbacks. Kevin Stefanski has an 85% reliability rating on Depth Chart Coach Speak. Who makes these ultimate decisions? A good question. A lot of people think it's ownership saying, hey, got to be Deshaun, only Deshaun. Which might be the case. It's possible. Deshaun's playing really bad. Again, it is unsightly what he has done. Unsightly on the field, and we know about Deshaun off the field. We don't have to get into that, but yeah, don't like this guy. Okay, I'll put it on the record. I do not like Deshaun Watson, but the Browns seem to be sticking with him now. Really interesting to think about, like how long is that leash here? Just how badly can he play and keep this job? They have a quarterback behind him. The Jameis Winston experience. We all yearn for it. The soul craves it. Not exactly a starting QB that you would want. You're not gonna do a ton with any of these guys. All right, it's time to find a new quarterback. Your quarterback of the future, not on this roster. You're not going to win anything with Jameis this year. Definitely not going to win anything with Deshaun this year. Time to cut loose, baby. Let's do running backs. Let us start in Seattle. This was after the Lions game from week 4. This is offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb on Kenneth Walker.
Have you ever seen a player like double flip over a defender the way that K9 did? And how is his athletic profile like a little bit different from guys that you've had in the past?
I've never seen an athletic profile like that. He's I really didn't see it till I got on the plane and I was watching film grading it, and somebody had pointed it out and I started watching. I was like, wow, he was not down. That was amazing. So I think, I had texted a couple of friends of mine that were wrestlers back in Iowa that said this guy's a wrestler. Like, you see the balance and the strength and the power, and yeah, Ken, he's special, man. He's growing every day. He's getting better, and it's scary what his top end's looking like.
How do you feel like your offense, your system fits Ken in terms of his skill set and how it maximizes what he brings to the table?
Well, I think, in a game like that, you can still throw the ball to him. You can still utilize him in the screen game, things like that. I think those are the things that in our offense that if you do get limited by whether it's the game and how it's going or structurally what's happening up front, you can still get the football to your running back. And I think that's really, really important when you got guys like Zach and Ken that are special. You want to find ways if for whatever reason you can't hand the ball to him, you still can get the ball to him.
He's special, man. It's very true. He, in his first game back from the oblique injury, played 59% of snaps. That was week 4, that Lions game. Played 67% of snaps against the Giants in a week 5 loss. And the Seahawks did not run the ball much that game. Kenneth Walker got 5 carries. He did get 8 targets. We are starting to see these targets that Ryan Grubb talked about this offseason. Kenneth Walker, 3-down back. We can use him in the passing game. 16 targets, 13 receptions through 3 games. And then you have the comments made by this coaching staff after that line, or after the Giants game. Mike McDonald in the post-game presser said, "We definitely need to get the run game going. We need to get Ken the ball more." Very next day, Mike McDonald again, "We all know we need to run the ball more. We have to create more situations where we can run it as well." Then the day after that, offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb in his press conference said, "We got to get the ball to Kenneth Walker more. We leaned on the wrong thing last game. I think if we had gotten Ken 10, 15 more touches, things look different. We're not running the ball as much. And so the play action isn't as believable. Establishing the run is critical to a lot of things." So, yeah, Kenneth Walker, clearly their guy on a different level than Zach Charbonnet. Just a special, elite athlete who was a home run threat every single time you give him the ball. They recognize that just like the rest of us do. Got to get the ball to Kenneth Walker more, they said. I expect that to happen. Special dude. That's what you want in fantasy. You want special players who can put up 100+ yards and score a few touchdowns for you any given week. That's Ken Walker. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They played last Thursday night and could have sealed the game near the end. Bucky Irving loses a fumble, and that leads to a Lemony Snicket series of unfortunate events. Well, I guess it started with that event. And Tampa ends up losing the game in overtime to division rival Atlanta. After the game, Todd Bowles was asked what he said to Bucky Irving afterwards.
What did you say to Bucky after the game?
Nothing. It happens. He fumbled. I mean, we got to play defense. It's going to be part of the ball game. He's one of our better players. You give the ball to him every time. You hope he comes through. In this case, he fumbled the ball. Defense got to hold him. It's a team effort.
That is good for Bucky. That is good for Bucky Irving. Todd Bowles not going to bury a guy on his first fumble. He is a very blunt head coach. If he held negative feelings towards Bucky Irving because of that fumble, he would say that. And if this ends up becoming an issue, then we'll hear it. But it would take more than one fumble to keep him off the field. It would take several. And they're doing a really good job of, keeping him involved. They are hiding his weaknesses in pass protection. They're not asking him to pass protect. They're able to get him on the field. And, a lot of this, well, not a lot of it, but a decent amount of it is in this pony personnel they've been running. I'm sure you've noticed with Rachaad White and Bucky Irving on the field at the same time. They do these like motion sweeps, usually with Bucky Irving. And then it's, sort of an option. Sometimes it's schemed up. They know exactly who they're giving it to on those plays. But yeah, it's either Bucky Irving on a sweep or it's going to be Rachaad White, up the gut, or maybe he cuts it back the other way. But just a lot of creativity here from offensive coordinator Liam Cohen in Tampa. And it's good stuff for Tampa. Not as great for fantasy, where backfield pretty split here. Either guys getting like a big enough workload to be like, yeah, this is a weekly play here. Jacksonville Jaguars. Saw Tank Bigsby show out this past week. Big game for him. Outshined Travis Etienne once again. And head coach Doug Peterson was asked whether Tank Bigsby will replace Travis Etienne atop the depth chart. Here is Doug.
Coach, obviously Tank got his due today, and you used him well down the road. Is that something the team's going to be moving forward to instead of moving to Travis Etienne?
No, not at all. Travis is our guy, and Tank had a good game. It's just the way games go, and happy for Tank. Had great for the offensive line, obviously in some of those situations there, but no, Travis is our guy, and Tank had a good game today though.
Travis is our guy. Okay, so what is Doug Peterson's reliability rating on depth chart coach speak? Let's take a look. It's 35%. Not good. It's not good. This does not mean that we should expect. That's a new word. That's a fun new word. Expanct. Yeah. This doesn't mean that we should expect Tank Bigsby to replace Travis Etienne as RB1 just because Doug Peterson has a 35% reliability rating. It just means we cannot rely on Peterson in this instance. So maybe. I think probably the most likely scenario is, Etienne still RB1, but Tank Bigsby getting a good deal of work here. And the more he shows out, you're not going to be able to keep that off the field, especially when you are in danger of being fired, Doug Peterson. The seat is feeling hot. So he's got to do what will help him win games. And right now, that means maybe a little more Tank Bigsby here. His college tape looked good. Old Tank. Then last year, talked about this during the offseason of, hey, this guy has some real talent. I know we didn't see it really on display last season, but a lot of that stuff was just mental focus errors. All those little Looney Tune boink drop passes into pick sixes. Just a weird combination of event, like the very worst run out you could have as a running back, as a healthy running back who's playing. Just did not go well last season. And then all off season we heard, hey, there's a real difference in the way he's working this year, and this is year 2, and the nerves have calmed down. He's more comfortable. He's more focused. Okay, so you put the mental part together now with the physical skill set that Tank Bigsby has that we saw on his college tape. And it's working out. It is working out. New York Giants. This was head coach Brian Daboll on rookie running back Tyrone Tracy Jr., who had to fill in for Devin Singletary, who missed this past week.
What impressed you, Brian, about Tracy, his running?
Got a lot of yards. Yeah. He was productive. He was productive. He was tough. I mean, he's doing the, I don't know if it's eat more or whatever it is, the sideline. Give him the ball. And, he ran hard. He saw the holes. He pressed the hole. That's something we've been working hard on him with, is pressing the hole and setting up your blocks. Made some extra yards with the ball in his hand. I don't know. He had a bunch of yards too, right? Tracy, I don't know, whatever it was. What was it? Yeah, like 7. What was the average? He had to have a high average. Yeah.
Brian Dable acting like he doesn't know what the eat more sign is. Come on, Brian. Not fooling me, pal. Tyrone Tracy looked good. 19 touches, 130 yards. He looked good, man. This is a converted wide receiver. So he's got the hands. Haven't really gotten him involved much in the pass game there. He only had a couple targets on Sunday. But we know he's capable. And then you see what he does as a running back. You know, this guy has pretty good vision, moves. Very promising stuff. Once Devin Singletary gets back, I don't know if Singletary loses a ton of work to Tracy. I mean, Singletary, fine enough running back in his own right. And Brian Dable likes him quite a bit. Spent time with him in Buffalo and has gotten a ton of touches in New York this year, reunited with Dable. I'm not sure Tracy is able to eat a ton into that workload when Singletary comes back. I wish he would. I hope he will. I have something close to 20% Tyrone Tracy in best ball, so it'd be super nice. I'm not banking on it. I am hoping for it. Okay. What's up next? I believe it's the Rams. It is the Rams. It's head coach Sean McVay talking about Kyren Williams.
When you look at what Kyren has done in the first quarter plus of the season, how do you evaluate that?
I've been really proud of Kyren. I think he's so competitive. His spirit, the way he goes about it, I love it. Obviously, he's such a great competitor. The one thing he'll look at is put the ball on the ground, but you look at the amount of, free hitters that he ended up getting positive yardage with yesterday, short yardage, tough red zone running. We can get everybody to start playing like him. We'll be in good shape. I love what Kyren Williams has done.
109 touches through 5 games. Played 91% of offensive snaps. 79, 90, 79, 86%. Pretty impressive for a punt returner. All that freaking out over the punt return stuff. And he's still their workhorse. I was going to do it. I told you so thing there, but all right. One more. We said at the time, it's a matter of trust. Okay. It was in addition to a roster thing. It helped them free up a roster space by Kyren Williams being the punt returner because they were able to cut Xavier Smith at the time and open up a roster spot. And it was also, like we said, it's about trust. You want someone fielding punts who you can trust will be able to field them and not muff them. And I'm not sure there's anyone else on this team they trust as much as Kyren Williams. Maybe Matthew Stafford, Cooper Kupp, But Kyren is firmly in this meet the Fockers circle of trust here. All right, that's all. That's all I'll say on it. Let's not doubt Sean McVay's love for Kyron Williams. There's like 1,000 clips of him talking about him like a second son. By the way, Blake Corum got in the game, got some run. He looked pretty good. Maybe we can take a little bit of this workload off of Kyron. But yeah, man, they just love this guy so much. Wide receivers. This was before week 5, but this was Houston Texans offensive coordinator Bobby Slowick talking about Tank Dell.
So you guys said that getting Tank involved and getting him going this weekend is a key component for the game. What's Tank's importance in your offense, and what does getting him going kind of look like for you?
Yeah, Tank's fast. I mean, there's people that you say are fast, but Tank's a different level of speed that you feel on the field. You know, Nico, I think Nico hits GPS that other people on our team like rarely, if ever, hit. So without a doubt, Nico's fast also. It just feels different when it's Tank. Something about his stride, his turnover. It gets on DBs very, very quickly. And when you can run the route tree the way he runs it and get in and out of breaks like he can get in and out of breaks and how fast he comes out of them, like that just becomes really hard to cover really fast. So the more we can help isolate him when needed, and in particular when teams are taking away Nico, when they're taking away Steph, when they're worried about other matchups on Dalton, it's just a great way for us to isolate a one-on-one that we have supreme confidence in.
So is Bobby Slowick talking about 2023 Tank Dell here or 2024 Tank Dell? I think it's a little more of the 2023 Tank Dell, because it looks a little bit different this year. And, well, the fractured fibula that he suffered last season could play into it. We saw with Tony Pollard last season, he was coming off fractured fibula, I believe. I believe it's fibula that both of them suffered. And took a while for Tony Pollard to kind of reclaim what he had been previously. Looked not quite right first half of the season. Then right around week 11, it's okay, Tony Pollard's got some of this juice back here. Different position, obviously. But, you know, Tank Dell, great separator. Like, that's always going to be in his bag. Once he's truly 100%, which should happen this season, could see him turn it back on. Could see the old Tank Dell. Hopefully that's soon. Nico Collins on IR now, so he's going to miss at least 4 weeks. Really big opportunity for Tank Dell, who is a top tier separator, playing on a really good offense with a very good quarterback. He's got a nice little runway here for the next few weeks. Real opportunity to do something. Would really love to see him turn back into 2023 Tank Dell. Be super nice. Such an incredible connection established between Dell and CJ Stroud last year. And those like mind meld types of things don't tend to dissipate. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. a classic, we'll see. But yeah, if he can't do it while Nico Collins is out, it's real problem. But it's time. Tank. Pittsburgh Steelers. This has been a big topic of discussion. George Pickens played just 59% of offensive snaps in week 5. That was a career low for him. Mike Tomlin was asked about that. And we got classic Mike Tomlin response. Here we go.
Like George Pickens wasn't one of your higher snap players on offense. There was a whole series where he was on the bench in the second half. What went into that?
We just wanted to kind of minimize his reps in an effort to get more productivity. We just trying to rep manage in terms of the totality of the big picture. He wasn't less of a focal point in terms of our intentions of what we wanted to do offensively, but we did want to cut his reps a little bit in an effort to get higher quality play, just in general.
Was he not playing up to the quality that you wanted from him?
It's no different than we minimize some of the snaps of D linemen like Cam Hayward and so forth, man. It's just about snap management. It's no underlying story, to be quite honest with you.
No underlying story, just about snap management. This is very interesting because in a press conference that occurred later, Mike Tomlin kind of admitted that, okay, there actually was an underlying reason for this. So he said, this was either yesterday or 2 days ago. He was asked if he had any issues with George Pickens' effort on Sunday. And Tomlin said, I didn't have any outlying issue with it. But then, a little bit later in the press conference, Tomlin says, George Pickens' effort was certainly part of the load management discussion that we had with him. So that load management, it's not about health. It was about effort, and he wants to get 100% effort on every play is the kind of, situation that he's presenting here. It's pretty incredible that you can't get 100% effort on like 80% of snaps, but 59%, yeah, we're getting 100% on each snap there. Real shame, because Pickens has been playing pretty well this year, and especially in terms of separation, what he's been doing there. And now his snaps are going down just because we're not seeing the effort. A shame. Tennessee Titans. This is head coach Brian Callahan talking about Calvin Ridley's recent lack of production.
When you look at Ridley's numbers for the last couple of weeks, what are some reasons that factor into those kind of numbers?
Well, the Miami game was the amount of runs that we had in the game. Sort of take that game in and of itself. But yeah, I got to do a better job of finding ways to get Calvin the ball. Need to use his speed and explosiveness more. Just get it in his hands every which way we can. And that's, again, that's on me to get him in those spots where he can get the ball more and let Will play football. But need to find a way to get him going. I told him that this morning too. Just, hey man, got to find a way to get you going and just be patient. We'll get it to you. But he's great. He's a team player. He just wants to win. But like all those guys, they want their part of the action and want to be able to help. So that's mostly on me to find ways to give him the ball.
Do you ever have concerns about guys like that coming in after a big contract and maybe pressing it all?
No, nope. And those are the things that you have the relationship and the conversation with him about it. Just like I told him, he doesn't need to press. it's on me to find ways to get it to him. Just keep playing football and the ball come your way. Because anytime you start trying to do too much or go out of your way or press to try to make plays, usually the negative things happen. So let the game come to you and let the ball come to you, and it will. Same thing I told Hop early on too. It's the same process that we got to keep finding ways to get you involved, keep you involved, and don't trust me. It's on my mind. I'm trying to do the best I can to get it to you. So just let it come to you, and we'll keep rolling.
Calvin Ridley over the past 2 games, 2 catches for 14 yards, 1 run for 10 yards. That's it. It's not good. That Miami game, they did run the hell out of the ball. That was their game plan, especially after Will Levis was out. Callahan talked about that, how they couldn't stop the run. We knew going into the game that they were weak against the run, and that was our game plan. We're just going to run. And then with Will out, I think they ran the ball like 4 times, or they passed the ball 4 times in the second half. So, okay, sure. Throw that game out. Throw out that 1 catch for 5 yards and 1 run for 10 yards. Green Bay game before that, 1 catch, 9 yards. Bah. This is the guy that Brian Callahan said before the season. We want to move him around. We want to put him in different positions and get him in motion and exploit all these advantages we can get with his speed. We want to use him like Jamar Chase was used in Cincinnati. We have not seen that. No reliability ratings for Brian Callahan yet, as he is a brand new head coach. His coach speak is starting to build up in a bunch of different areas. A lot of them are kind of season-long stuff. We'll see how they kind of shake out. He did also say this past week that Callahan, that during the bye week, they took a long look at the passing game because it is not at all what they had envisioned. They wanted to throw a lot more than they've been doing. Really good matchup for Calvin Ridley this week at home against the Indianapolis Colts. And with all this coach speak about we got to get him involved, I would imagine good chance Calvin Ridley gets involved this week. All right, we got one more clip. And golly gosh, it's Indianapolis Colts head coach Shane Steichen talking about Josh Downs.
It's been just 2 games back for Josh Downs, but what have you seen out of just the way that he's fit into this offense?
He's the ultimate pro. He does everything right. He does the treatment he gets, the way he works, what he brings to that receiver room is great. You can see what he's done in his first year and a half, how productive he's been. He's going to have a big-time career because of the way he works, his work ethic, the way he runs routes, the way he attacks every day. He's a huge asset to our football team.
Yeah, this guy is a star. He's a slot star. Guy's getting fed. My goodness. We'll just do all 3 games. But coming back from the high ankle sprain, got 5 targets in that game against Chicago, 3 catches, 22 yards. And then 2 games after that, 8 catches, 82 yards, touchdown, 9 catches, 69 yards. Nice. And they're putting him in motion a bunch. They know that this is a really special player we have here. And we're going to stress the defense with him. They know how good he is. We're going to put this guy in motion just constantly. And it's been working. Fantasy-wise, you got Josh Downs. You're very, very happy. You're in a PPR league with Josh Downs. You're back flipping out of bed in the morning. Really, really good piece there. We will see what it looks like when Anthony Richardson comes back, because these past 2 games that we've gotten here, it's been been a lot of Joe Flacco. So will those intermediate targets, all those intermediate targets, be as accurate as they have been with Joey Flax? Probably not. But he should still be involved in this offense. Okay. I'll just, we'll do a few, we'll talk about a few things from the Discord here this week. A couple things that we didn't tweet out. As you probably know, I watch every single head coach, offensive coordinator, and general manager press conference, and I put every important note from those into the Coach Speak Index Discord, which is linked in the pinned tweet on our Twitter account at Coach Speak Index. So many important nuggets throughout the week, every single day, that go into the Discord. And if you're betting, if you're playing fantasy football for money or pride or whatever, it's dumb to not be in there, because there's information in here that is not, it's just not being tweeted out, because beat reporters don't really do their job from a fantasy football lens. It's, you know how it works. All right, here we go. Cardinals. What? Greg? My God. Get it together, man. Cardinals offensive coordinator Drew Petzing said, "I think we are the most difficult to defend when we're spreading the ball around, when everyone has an impact on the offense." This was in response to a question about Marvin Harrison Jr. being involved in the offense, and to what level. Now, he did get a decent amount of targets, I believe 7 targets this past week, only ended up with a couple catches, but yeah, they're not trying to force feed it to one guy. They're not doing a Malik Neighbors with Marvin Harrison Jr. Drew Petzing is very, all right, what is the defense giving us kind of play caller in Arizona. Like, all right, we're going to, almost kind of a Kansas City-ish thing. It's like, we're just going to spread this baby around. We're just going to like death by 1,000 cuts here. Yeah, this is something that head coach Jonathan Gannon, he echoed these same sentiments this past offseason. Although if he said it first, then it's not really echoing. I guess it's pre-echoing. It's some sort of interstellar situation where Jonathan Gannon is shouting behind a wall of bookshelves. Panthers head coach Dave Canales talking about Chuba. Good God, man. Chuba Hubbard. I mean, this is unreal. I'm unable to talk today. Panthers head coach Dave Canales talking about Chuba Hubbard's performance as of late. Said it just goes back to his work ethic, the way that he values this opportunity, doesn't take it for granted. Said that Chuba has the style and attitude we're looking for. He runs the way it's supposed to be ran. He has the patience to let the big runs come to him. He's not afraid of the dirty 2 and 3 yard runs that start popping into 8 and 12 and 25 yard runs later in the game. Dave Canales is a big Chuba Hubbard fan. He was saying during the offseason, we want guys who run angry. That's who's going to get the ball. Whoever wants it the most, whoever is running the angriest. And that has been Chuba Hubbard's style. That's his play style. He's been good. He's had a very high success rate on runs. Panthers are an analytically minded team. You see them going for it on fourth downs all over the field in situations where they're supposed to be. So when Chuba Hubbard is providing this kind of value to them, Jonathan Brooks, I believe, is a much better talent than Chuba Hubbard. But Chuba Hubbard, no slouch, playing extremely well, playing at a very high level right now. That's not something that's going to be just discarded when Jonathan Brooks comes back. Could have sort of a time share going on here in Carolina. It's possible. I do still think Jonathan Brooks, better talent. They traded up 10 picks in the second round to get him. This is a guy they valued quite a bit. And, we've seen the college tape. We know what he looked like in college. We don't know what he looks like in the NFL. You got to imagine that level of skill set is going to translate quite well. But you never know for sure until you see it. Chuba Hubbard is doing some real work for fantasy managers who drafted him. Finally, Cowboys head coach Mike McCarthy was asked about the backfield for this week. He said, our approach for the game this week will probably be similar to last week. And, well, last week was Rico Dowdle playing 50% of offensive snaps, which is season high, but right around where he's been. He's been in the mid-40s all 4 weeks prior. 50% this past week, but 22 touches for 114 yards and a touchdown. McCarthy said we played 5 games. 2 of them were out of balance, so we want to play with balance. And he said that the run efficiency has been good the last couple weeks. We definitely want to build off that. He's talked about wanting to establish the run, wanting to run a little bit more. Certainly did that this past week. Rico Dowdle now 2 weeks in a row with double-digit carries. And it seems like this is, still running back by committee, but with Rico Dowdle being the lead of that committee. And it's like Mike McCarthy said this offseason, Rico Dowdle, one of the lead guys in that room. And recently, when he was asked about Ezekiel Elliott, says, yeah, Ezekiel Elliott, solid player. He was asked about Rico Dowdle. Mike McCarthy said, Rico Dowdle is a bowling ball full of butcher knives. Pretty nice thing for a coach to say about a player, about a running back. Do we think they're going to give the ball to the guy who's solid or to the guy who's a bowling ball full of butcher knives? Probably that last one. That'd be my guess. My guess, it would be that last one. All right, that does it for us today. Thank you so much for listening, checking us out. Follow us on Twitter at CoachSpeakIndex. Join the Discord if you want all this information that we're getting from these press conferences on a daily basis. And like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you subscribe. How else are you going to know that it's banger time if you're not subscribed, huh? All right, fine. You'll know because everyone else who is subscribed goes to their window and bangs pots and pans and yells banger time as soon as the push notifications appear. But don't you want to be a part of that? Don't you want to be a part of banger time? You do. You know you do. Come on now. All right. Hey, best of luck this week in all your matchups. See you soon. Take care. Sarah, take us out.